If a police officer asks you this one question during a traffic stop, and you answer it the wrong way, you could be walking straight into a trap you didn't even see coming. And the worst part? It sounds so normal, so casual, so harmless, that almost everyone answers it automatically. No hesitation, no second thought, and that's exactly why it works. Because in that moment, you don't realize what's really happening. You think it's just a conversation. It's not. It's a setup. Picture this. You're driving home. Maybe it's late. Maybe it's not. Doesn't matter. You're relaxed. Then suddenly, red and blue lights explode in your mirror. Your heart drops. Instant tension. You check your speed. You check your mirrors. What did I do? You pull over, engine idling, hands slightly shaky. You roll down your window. The officer walks up slowly. Flashlight hits your face. Then comes the question. Cop, do you know why I stopped you? Right there. That's the trap. And almost nobody treats it like one. You might smile nervously, you might try to guess, you might say something like, was I speeding? Or, I think I might have rolled through that stop sign. And just like that, you've stepped right into it. Because that question is not about getting information, it's about getting a confession. Let me say that again. It's not about what they don't know. It's about what they want you to say. They already have a reason for stopping you. They don't need your help. But if you give it, you make their job easier. Way easier. Let's slow this down and really look at what's happening. You're sitting there, lights flashing behind you. You feel pressure. Silence feels awkward. You think you should say something, anything. So you guess. That's the mistake, because the moment you guess, you risk admitting. And once you admit, there's no taking it back. Let's play it out. Cop, do you know why I stopped you? You, yeah, I was probably going a little fast. Cop, how fast do you think you were going? You, maybe 10 over? Done. You just built the case. You gave them the violation. You estimated the speed. You confirmed it. Now there's nothing to argue, nothing to defend. You handed it over, willingly. And it all started with that one question. But here's where it gets even more dangerous. Sometimes the trap isn't about traffic at all. Sometimes it's bigger. Let's say the officer suspects something else. Maybe they think you've been drinking. Maybe they think something's off. They still ask the same question. Cop, do you know why I stopped you? But this time, your answer can open doors you didn't even know existed. You, was I swerving? Now think about that. They didn't say anything about swerving, but you just did. Now their attention shifts. Now they're thinking, why would they say that? And suddenly, what was a simple stop becomes something more. More questions, more scrutiny, more pressure. That's how fast it escalates. And you triggered it without realizing it. Let me interrupt you right here, because this part matters more than anything else. You are not required to answer that question. Not legally, not strategically, not ever. You don't have to guess. You don't have to explain. You don't have to help them. But most people don't know that. So they talk. And talking is where things go wrong. Let's rewind again. Same moment. Same lights, same question. But this time, you respond differently. Cop, do you know why I stopped you? You pause. You stay calm. You don't rush. Then you say, no, officer. That's it. Simple, neutral, safe. You didn't admit anything. You didn't guess. You didn't give them anything to use. And that one small change makes a massive difference. But don't relax yet, because the trap doesn't end there. That question is just the beginning. Once the conversation starts, it keeps going. And each question is another opportunity to slip, another chance to say too much. Let's go deeper. Cop, where are you coming from? Seems harmless. Feels like small talk. It's not. This question is about building a timeline, about checking consistency, about seeing how you respond under pressure. You say, I'm coming from a friend's house. Cop, which friend? Now you hesitate. Now you stumble. Now it looks like you're unsure. And even if you're telling the truth, it doesn't feel that way anymore, because you gave details, and details can be tested, twisted, questioned. This is how people create problems out of nothing. Not because they did something wrong, but because they said too much. So what do? You stay controlled. You keep it simple. You say, I'm just heading home. No extra information, no loose ends, no unnecessary details. Now here's where things really start to build. Because once you're talking, it's hard to stop. The officer keeps asking. Cop, have you had anything to drink tonight? This is where people panic. They think honesty means explaining everything. So they say, just one drink? Or, a couple hours ago. And right there, everything changes. Because now you've admitted to drinking. Even if you're under the limit, it doesn't matter. You've opened the door. Now comes, step out of the vehicle. Walk this line. Follow my finger. Now you're in a full investigation. Stress skyrockets. Mistakes happen. All because of one answer, one moment, one decision. But it started earlier. It started with that first question. Because once you begin talking, you keep talking, and the more you talk, the deeper you go. Let me stop you again, because this is critical. Silence is not weakness. Silence is protection. You don't have to fill every gap. You don't have to make the conversation comfortable. You don't have to explain yourself. Every word you say can be used. So the smartest move? Say less. Let's go back again. Cop, do you know why I stopped you? Wrong answer. Anything that guesses or admits. Right answer. No, officer. Now the officer continues. Cop. Were you speeding? You feel pressure. You want to cooperate, but this is still part of the same trap. You say, I'm not sure, officer. Now you're staying neutral. You're not admitting. You're not arguing. You're staying in control. That's the goal. Control. Because once you lose control, the situation can spiral fast. Let's push this even further, because this is where people really get caught. Cop, mind if I take a look inside your vehicle? This is a huge moment, and many people mess it up. They either say yes, out of fear, or they overreact. I know my rights. You need a warrant. Now you've created tension. Now the situation feels confrontational. Now the officer is more alert, more suspicious, more aggressive. Instead, you say, I don't consent to any searches. Calm, clear, controlled, no attitude, no argument, just a boundary. That's how you protect yourself. Now let's connect everything, because this all ties back to that first question. Do you know why I stopped you? It's not random, it's strategic. It sets the tone, it opens the door, and how you respond determines everything that follows. If you guess, you risk admitting. If you explain, you risk exposing. If you talk too much, you lose control. But if you stay calm, if you stay simple, if you say less, you stay protected. Let's run a full scenario from start to finish. You get pulled over, lights flashing. You pull over safely, hands visible. Officer approaches. Cop, do you know why I stopped you? You, no, officer. Cop, where are you coming from? You, I'm just heading home. Cop, have you had anything to drink? You, I'd prefer not to answer any questions. Cop, mind if I search your vehicle? You, I don't consent to any searches. Notice the pattern. Calm, short, controlled, no extra words, no emotional reactions, no volunteering. And because of that, the situation stays stable. But most people don't do this. They talk, they explain, they try to be helpful, and that's where things go wrong. Because the officer's job is to gather information. Your job is to protect yourself. Those two goals are not the same. And once you understand that, everything changes. Let me give you one more powerful insight. You don't get in trouble because of what the officer knows. You get in trouble because of what you say. That's the difference. That's the trap. And that's why this matters so much. Because in that moment, on the side of the road, with lights flashing, with pressure building, you won't have time to think deeply. You'll react. So you need to know this now. You need to remember it before it happens. Because when that question comes, and it will come, you'll feel the urge to answer, to guess, to explain. Don't. Pause. Stay calm and say, no, officer. That one sentence could save you from a ticket, from an investigation, from something much worse. Because once your words are out, you can't take them back. And in that moment, the safest move is saying less, always.